Oh shoot, I don't even have a disc. What disc am I going to use today? Did you already start? All right, guys, let me go find a disc. Well, I don't think we need a mid. What should we grab? Yep. Sure. A nice little fission Tesla. And then if I have to actually throw, I'll use the essence that's already used. All right. Boom. We still have 2 of those stags left, by the way. They're almost gone. Vision Tesla. That's what I'm going with today. You know, it's just something about MVPs like fairway drivers that feels good. It feels kind of beefy though. The wing angle is like the wing angle of a faster feeling disc or more overstable feeling disc. Yeah, except it's like it's a negative 1.5. So that's kind of weird. Is it? All right. Sweet. Okay, who we got in here? Let me know if you're already in the chat. We'll get this thing cooking. I should be over all these butterflies. Neither of you have thrown the Tesla though, right? You threw one, Dakota? Oh. Yeah. Are the numbers lying to us? You know, I could use something in that slot. I mean, I need something in that slot to where it's like not going to flip. Something for hole. What hole is that? At Falling Creek. Let's see. 6, 7, 8. Hole 8 at Falling Creek in yellows. Or you can throw it decent and it just hooks up on its own. Well, hey, apparently nobody's here that I've got their form review for, so I'm just going to start cooking. Let's see here. I can see your messages, Krev. Spring is here, but I don't have Spring's form. He's just waving as he's actually here. No, he's driving back to Lynchburg. No, I think he's just saying hello. All right. He's on his way back right now. Just here for the vibes. The dad vibes, as one recent comment just said. This guy tries way too hard for the dad vibes or something. It's like, no trying. I'm just a dad. So I naturally have those vibes. It's all natural. Okay, I think we'll start with, we'll go from the tail end. Max Tane, Mikey. Just going to get moving. I should be over all these butterflies. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was like, why is it so slow? Because I slowed it down. And it's in slow-mo. I was watching David Wiggins in super slow-mo. Whoop. For as back as you get on the X, you're still getting to the toe. But it's definitely messing up your, it's definitely messing up, making the disc go around you, because you get really far back here, and now you end up staggering way over. And so since you have decent coil here, and you're not uncoiling with the hips, these are both good things, the disc ends up naturally behind you. And so you end up closing off your pocket. I wonder if YouTube dinks us because he doesn't have his shirt on. Hold on. Hold on. Yep. Oh, true. I got you, bro. It's a watermelon shirt. Boom. Fixed. All right. So issue is that this step here, your cross step pulls you backwards, right? And so two options, either turn the hips back forward and uncoil, which would get your feet more in line, or don't uncoil, like in this, you don't want to uncoil, so this is, you're correctly doing this part, but the issue is that this left foot was too far back, and so now when you coil, the disc is actually behind you, and you have to turn here. And when you do that, you lose all the space with your pocket, so you can't pull the hands directly through the pocket here. Right, so solution, fix that cross step. Make sure that we're going boom, boom, here, and we need to go and get this foot not perpendicular, but you can't have it as far back as you're doing. Somewhere, less than 45 degrees off, right? And so the way to do that is make sure that you have this little slot behind this right knee here for this left knee to pass through. So you got to stick your butt out a little bit. You're already kind of on your toes coming through. So bend your knees, you're staying on your toes, and then slot this directly this way, right? And when you do that, it's going to let you, when you coil, now you're going to get a nice normal stagger. It's going to be closer to, 20 degrees than being all the way over here. And when I do that, you can see that I've got this space right here for my disc in my hand to pass through and pass the body without going around, right? Giving space for the elbow, letting us curl the hand inside, right? So that's mostly a walk-up issue, is don't turn here, stay sideways. You're going to have to stick your butt out, bend your knees to do it. I somehow hit a tree that was directly beside the T-pad one time. I've heard stories of people getting hit in the face when they were standing behind someone throwing on a T-pad. So you're not even that bad, really. Alrighty, next, Mikey, I'm going to do, I don't even know how to say this, Pajikata. There's like too many consonants in a row to make sounds. How this jersey makes me feel like this guy's a professional in some other sport. One 166,228. Wish I knew. So he's also getting back here, right? He's managing to stay on his toe, which is quite the feat. But look here at the stance that it puts his legs in. You get this kind of flared out with the knee position. The shoulders could use a bit more coiling, but you're really locked out on the hips here. It's really, I don't know if you get much more benefit without addressing the footwork first. Yeah, the posture going up into this. So look how like in line the feet are here. Like this left foot's gonna have to sweep behind this foot, the right foot, and see how it actually goes back. Oh, sorry, back and then around. That's what's causing this hip to go back here. And he's got lots of posture changes throughout this, right? He starts by standing up straight, and then kind of upright here, and then bent at the waist, and then standing upright again. Right, when you do this, you're kind of like swinging in and out of the, you're swinging in and out of correct posture here for your, well, I guess if I move it all the way over there, that works. Right, so the posture that we're looking at, and you can just start like this, but I would start butt out, chest over your knees here. So we've got this natural bend already when we got our chest over our knees. So we're bent at the waist here. We don't want to like move up and down like this throughout the throw. You'll see people like Henna, for example, who's probably, you know, top 5 form in all of disc golf right now. She kind of starts over, right, and she stays here the whole time. So she's always got this space here. And when you start over like this and your butt's out, you've got the space already for your legs to kind of glide past one another, which is super important. The other thing is that you can't have your feet like totally in line here, right? So for example, if this left foot was in front of my right foot this way, which is obviously incorrect, but if I stepped here and then I tried to step straight, if I tried to step straight through like this, I couldn't actually do it because my right knee gets in the way, right? I would have to go cross forward. So, but if I'm crossing behind like this, then it's going to force me to go around and start turning my hips back toward you guys early, right? So I need to go here, and there's like a little bit of stagger getting into that step. So my right foot's already a little bit in front of my left foot before I even take this cross step, right? So that I have this room behind my right knee. If it's here in line, then I have to go behind a little bit. So when we walk up, if I walk up towards the door over here, when I step, my right foot is going to, you see that my right foot now is in front of my left, right? And that gives me this room to clear without having to swing back and put my butt back underneath the rest of my body. And I don't have to stand up, or I don't have to stand up to make that happen, right? I can stay postured over the whole time. There, right? So from the side, go here. The left is here. Now the right's a little bit over this way, right towards you guys. Here, I'm postured over. I'm postured over. And now I've got room for my hands to move through freely. So, posture deal. I would even start just here. Right? Step. Boop. Stay in that posture the whole time. Oh, kicking my setup. Hui. All right. Next. Barf OS. Overstable barf. Probably not Barfos. Slow. Man, I think I want some of this bubbly before I drink the rest of my coffee. A little hoppy poo. Whee! Okay, let me do this real quick. Oh yeah. Do not disturb me with your notifications, world. Overall, pretty good, right? You know this disc is moving pretty decent. The hop tall on the left. Coiling back. Dropping down into the right. Wow, really delaying that forward swing until he's shifted onto this right foot. I mean, we got to nitpick with this guy, right? So perhaps the left hand could be a little bit tighter. This is my first little nitpicky piece here. The nose seems up to me. You go from this nice, like, pour position in the pocket, P-O-U-R, like coffee pour, position in the pocket. To where you start pronating just a touch early, right? Popping that nose up a little bit. Just delaying the opening of the shoulders as much as you can. I want to pull in some footage that I just got recently. Changed the flavor up. Chris Taylor sent me this. It's fun to watch. Wow. Oh, actually, this isn't good because he has to throw so high to throw his max distance stuff that it looks wonky to the eye. Like, out of context. Sorry. Would have been fun, but it's too different. It will blow the minds. Would have been fun, but potentially detrimental. Yep. Right. looking pretty decent here. This little press at the end with the hand. Ooh. Versus being nose down there. Who is this guy? I will say that they're keeping the shoulders closed a little bit longer than you are, right? Their shoulders not opening up, quite as much / early, but you're right in the range. But this little difference in wrist angle here, like going into the hit, right? Versus down. I hope you can see that difference there. Kind of just a little bit of the nose up, right? Where Simon's is still kind of flush here. You're like popping that wrist up a little bit. Sorry, this is one of those instances where I try to be very careful. Yeah, because the form is obviously quite good. And so it's like, okay, what do you say? Because it's very easy to say too much. I was talking to John from Ace at Disc Golf. And he's like, he was talking to me about the hop and the X step and all that stuff. And he's like, I just want to ask Kristen, this. And it's like, yeah, Kristen probably thinks that she's actually doing. He's like, she doesn't really do like an X. She does this weird like shuffle hop. And like even a hop, I'm considering an X. But hers is like, she doesn't really cross that much. And so is what he was saying. So he wanted to ask her like, how did you decide that you weren't going to do an X step? I was like, yep. And, you could ask that. And she probably thinks in her mind that she is doing an X step. Like her first response would probably be like, what are you talking about? I do an X. Because that's just how most athletes are. And in asking her that, she might be tempted to go like look at her footage and then see like, oh, I'm not doing the same X step that everybody else is doing. And then try to fix it and then be broken. So if you catch me just like veg in here, it's because I'm like thinking I'm seeing stuff and I'm trying to figure out how to address it or if to address it at all. And I think what I want to say is you're too upright. I want to see your throw with more tilt. Some more forward bend at the waist here so that it looks to us like this right shoulder is dropped below this left, right? We shouldn't see these shoulders so similar because you're doing kind of a little downward. It's making kind of go like a little downward elbow and an upward elbow, and you get kind of scrunched a little bit. So I'd like to see more waist bend, more tilt. Here, this forward waist bend. And that's all I'm going to say, because I'm not in the business of ruining forms unless they're already bad. Then we break them for a little bit. But this is like, this form to me, unless he comes back to me and says like, oh yeah, I can only throw 300 or 350, I'm fully expecting that this guy throws, 450, or somewhere in that range. At which point it's like, okay, how do we improve what he has, not change what he has? So if you got questions other than that, dude, or you got more context for me, shoot me a message on Discord. But tighter left arm, more tilt. Yes. Okay, next I'm going to do, unless somebody else is here. What's up? Trying to help the disc versus resisting the tug. Oh, you're saying that's what he was doing. Okay, I'm going to do high next. Have you... Pointer and pinky, like this? Like a fan grip? Is that what you're saying? Like this? Any evidence to suggest that this grip right here? Either way, the answer is no. I don't have data that suggests that. We'll do more in the data series, and we'll do some testing for sure on the fan grip versus power grip. And Tech Disc gave us some cool updates, so it's going to be way easier to look at stuff. Okay. Back to the standstills. Hello? Okay. Cool. I'm with it. I'm with it. I remember the last form review, which is doesn't always happen. Okay. So don't stand up. I'm going to give you my 2 rules when we do these things. I'm not going to use the brand new Tesla. I'm going to switch the Essence so I can actually throw it. But there are 2 rules, and I don't have a drop-down line. What am I doing? Oh! Hold on. You guys still there? Okay, let's see what's straight here for you guys. Here, perhaps? Okay, 2 rules when we start working on the arm. You've got this nice little rock motion that you're doing, right? Keep your same posture here. So you start bent over like this, and then you're here, and you're going, whoop, and you're kind of standing up, right? That's lifting the shot, right? That turns into disco, baby, which is not it, right? Yeah, I hope I'm going to help you with the grip locks here. Okay, so when you practice this, there are 2 rules. Rule number 1, keep the disc over the line. That's rule number 1. We're going to move the disc forward, right? Our goal in disc golf is to make the disc go very fast in terms of miles per hour or kilometers per hour, which is measured that direction, right? So we don't need it to go around and all that stuff, right? So rule number 1 is we're moving the disc forward over this line. Rule number 2 is your hand has to be on the back of the disc for as long as possible. So I'll show you this. So I'm going over the line so you can see it. Disc is over the line the whole time. I'm focusing on my disc over the line, over the line. Okay, that's rule 1. Disc moving linearly, which, by the way, for my body, this is for everybody else. People are like, what, is out, in, out not accurate? It's not talking about the same thing. Out is here, away from my body. This is wide, away from my body. And then I curl the disc into my body, right? And now it's out. And this creates a little mini arc. But we're going to try to move the disc as forward as we possibly can, which when we actually go to throw might not be exactly what happens. But I don't think it's any coinkadink that pros are thinking about this. So, okay. So here we go. Got my toe up against this line. Hand on the back of the disc for as long as possible. Back of the disc for as long as possible. I'm going to keep it on this same kind of 8 o'clock. If this line is pointed to 12 and there's 6, I have my hand on 8. So from here, moving the disc along the line, I'm making sure my hand stays on 8. Stays on 8. Stays on 8. Okay, I get here. Now what? What do I do now? Now I'm in this 90-degree angle. People get hung up here, right? Continue moving the disc forward with your hand on 8, and it's no problem. The solution is just to let your elbow go past the body, and then you get here. Uh-oh, my elbow can't go forward anymore. So what has to happen? Well, the rule is that the disc stays on the line, not your elbow, right? So now your elbows can come off the line. It's coming back behind me. And then my hand takes over the line. Okay, it's at this point that we kind of break rule number 2, which is disc on the, or hand on the back of the disc as long as possible. Now it has to start unfurling here, right? And now my hand starts moving towards the front of the disc. So it goes, okay, how long can I keep my hand on the back of this? How long can I do it? How long can I do it? Uh-oh, it's getting tougher. Okay, now it's actually impossible, so it goes there, right? So now I'll do the same thing for the throw. I'm still maintaining this bent at the waist, still here, my hand on the back of it. Learning to do a little quicker. Now I'm learning the arm motion. Now I'm learning the arm motion. Boom. A little faster. Good. Right? That's your next task. Ha-cha! Oh, I thought I could do something cool like, whoa, ninja. Not really. Zhiboo. Yeah, let me address the grip lock thing. So the grip lock thing is like if you're coming around and you don't get this little like whip at the end, like your hand comes off the back of the disc too early, like there's no huge unfurl that's happening here. Like the disc is not whipping all the way around here, so it doesn't have enough force really to come out of your hand, right? If your hand is on the front of it when you get here, well, of course you can actually hold on to it because there's not any spin ripping it out of your hand. So, have you got a chance to read the doc by Ace It? I have not. You know, I kind of cheat because I just have 2-hour conversations with the guy on the phone. But I am planning on reading it. I am. This is on Form. And if you become a $5 patron in our Patreon, oh, Mikey, this might be something that we have to make more accessible or visible or...
Oh, the slow-mo form?
The slow-mo form.
No, I mean, it's up there with the, right next to your instructions. It's got a tab.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, on Form is the answer that you're looking for. The slow-mo that I'm using to compare, like, you can download when you're on our $5 tier, you can download for personal use the slow-mo that I have here. Simon drew a variety of shots. We've got Andrew Marweed forehand, Philo. So yeah, that's one of the benefits of our $5 tier. And above, you know, being a $15 tier, do that too. Okay, next we're going to go with Sage. Sage Frisbees. Yeah, I will say John and I have the most fun conversations. The places they go, I wish like our conversations were just freely available to everybody because it's super interesting. And coaches or future coaches or people wanting to be coaches would really like nerd out over almost all the stuff that we talk about. Just super interesting. Mm. Right. I don't remember what we've talked about previously, but if I had to guess, it was probably this X step. What you need, though, is to stop collapsing that pocket. Right? And that's happening because you're spinning your shoulders forward instead of moving your hand past your shoulders. We could talk about, so here's what I'm not talking about that we could talk about. We could talk about footwork. Right? We could address this. I'm not going to address that now. I would recommend, like, you will get more out of the disc if you stand still and change what I'm going to tell you to change here than if you worked on fixing this final stride. Yeah. But we've also worked on, if we've worked on other stuff before, this is where form reviews are tough. Because right now you're opening up this last step where you should be closing it. So, need some tender love and care here. Okay, swapping out the bubbly for the coffee. Okay. So two things need to change here. We need to not open during this last step. This opening of the body, of the hips, of the shoulder, is causing you to collapse this pocket, or in other words, you're getting your elbow too tight to your body because you're turning. Right? So Instead, you need to learn to let your hands pass in front of your body. If you spend some time just going from a standstill here and just doing that drill that I showed to the person before you, I would start on your right leg here and just have this left leg back behind you. Right, so here. Right. Now, we turn the shoulders, so we're already at the point where our footwork is correct. In other words, we're already in the plant. So we're going to turn backwards here. Our weight's still here. I'm not wanting you to shift your weight back right now. Here, turn your shoulders back, and now you've got this line here, and you can see where my hand can pass my body, right? We need the hand to pass in front of the body before the hips and shoulders cut it off, right? So if I pull up that David Wiggins slow-mo that Chris sent me, the data on Wiggins is that his hips are moving at 900 degrees of rotation a second. His shoulders are at 1100, very, very quick, but his arm is at 2200, right, at the hit. This is a race. This is, can you get your arm to move twice as fast as your body, right, into the hit here. Right now, your shoulders are going 1100, and then they start dragging your hand 1100, right? Not actually 1100 for you, because, you know, we're not Wiggins. But in the analogy here, your shoulders are pulling your hand. Don't do that. The hand passes in front. It's better for you to get back here, leave your shoulders back, and then move your arm along the line drill that I just had for the person in front of you, right? And start with your shoulders back and then just leave them back and move the hand along the line with the disc kind of curled up inside. Right, and just move it there. And do not turn your shoulders. Right, do not turn your hips. Do not rotate. You do this, you're dead. It's game over. You're never getting into the pocket. Right, so from here, arm moves. Boom. In the beginning, it's going to feel like you are only using your arm. You are using your arm. But from here, it's going to feel like, okay, my foot, notice my foot's here, right? So I've got some hip coil going on. My shoulders are definitely coiled and back. From here, along, I'm going to move the disc forward, trying to keep my shoulders back. Do not expect this to feel great. Probably won't feel great. Right. Here, here. Right? Then eventually, instead of trying to keep the shoulders back, we can just ignore the shoulders, and we get to the point where we're not using them, but we're also letting them do their thing, right? And so you would go from here, and if you followed my two rules of keeping the disc moving forward along the line and keeping your hand on the back of the disc, and then you just let your shoulders go. As you move, your shoulders are naturally going to come forward to accomplish this goal, right? And then they're naturally going to kind of slow down here, right? Because my right shoulder is kind of in the way right here. As I move my hand forward, my right shoulder has to get out of the way to an extent, right? But that's not me going and moving my shoulder. It's not me, dodgeballing it. It's just only moves as necessary. Right? And now it's no longer necessary for it to move to let the hand pass. So then you end up looking something more like this, where we go back and then we let the shoulders do their thing, and you get a natural opening by disc, but not a forced opening. What?
I heard it. I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. It was definitely coiling inside.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Up again.
Yeah, somebody on a lesson yesterday who I had the same issue with, they said, it feels like I'm just using my arm. It's going to feel like you're using your arm. I was in the pool with my girls the other day, and my oldest, I was doing the thing where I go underwater, she would stand on my shoulders, and I grab her hands, right? And then I would press up out of the water, and then she'd jump and, launch, right? Well, think about it. For her, it doesn't feel like she's jumping any less, right? It's not like, oh, it doesn't feel like a jump anymore. I just go, she's still jumping. It's just there's this timing piece there's this transport mechanism, me, that lifts her legs up in the beginning, right? Your shoulders and your hips help to move the arm along, right? But if you don't move the arm, if she just stands on my shoulders and doesn't jump, she doesn't go anywhere, right? I'm just like catching up to her. It's actually worse, right? So it's like she's still going to feel like she jumps. Now, arming feels like if you jump at the wrong time, right? If I'm going up and she jumps right at the beginning as me pushing up instead of at the end, when I stand all the way up, it's going to feel hard to get that first foot because I'm catching up to her, right? But if she waits until I'm almost all the way up or until that last second where I pop up, then she can jump, 5 feet in the air really easily. Whereas if she was just standing on the ground, it would feel really tough for her to jump 5 feet in the air. She couldn't do it, right? So she's still jumping. It's just we feel like when our timing's all garbage, it's impossible to jump 5 feet in the air. But if we can sync up that timing with the transport mechanism, then it feels really easy to jump 5 feet in the air. We'll show you. Dakota. I was joking. Get on my back. Okay, B tripled, that's who we're doing next. B tripled? B tripled what hole? Oh, dude, absolutely. Dude, I love L'Oreal as well. Hold on, now I gotta remember her name. Because it was Mikey, and your dad's name was... Man, I really want to say Tim. Oh, you... Okay, sweet. By the way, I said that before I saw you type T, right? Because there's a little bit of a lag. But yes. So, honor code, I got it without the hint. Crocs. In sport mode, it counts as an athletic shoe at this point. Ah, so close, so close. So is this little move here at the end. Watch his right foot. Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it. Shoulders are turning back beautifully here. Watch. And then right here. It starts turning forward. Boom. So don't do that. Whoa. Don't kick that, Josh. I just did. Okay. So, whoop. I don't think I'm going to throw Tesla. Okay, here we go. So during your final step, it's not just the shoulders that turn, right? I don't know why there's necessarily a Well, anyways, I don't need to say that. I'll watch my mouth here. Okay, so shoulders going back. The hips also have to go back, right? So some people say, okay, think about the shoulders coiling and it'll coil the hips. Some people say coil the hips and it'll help you coil the shoulders. It's like, well, both have to coil. So try thinking about one, try thinking about the other. For you, probably what you need to think about is turning your left butt cheek to the target, right? And you need to finish this step with your left butt, getting some air time here. Air time? That's not a good combo when talking about the butt. But yeah. Here, you're turning your shoulders good, turn your shoulders. Keep turning this butt to the target. Right, the whole time. And we spend the whole last step doing that. So it's here, turning, 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 boom. And we're waiting for this foot to hit. All right, so we finish with the butt facing the target. All right, lots of ways to practice this, but I would just chunk it. Go here. You can go turn a little, turn a little, turn a little, turn a little, right, until you get to a comfortable stance. And then you can shift over and then, throw. Right, and then eventually you want it to just be turn the butt the whole time, shift, throw. And then one move. Everybody. Whoa. Train. Turn. Oh, I didn't even think about that rolling and hitting. Oh, there's nothing in those strings though. Yep. Yep. So I would work on that. Butt forward the whole final step. Because you're just unloading a little bit at the end there. And bro, it will change your game. That's one of those things. It's like nice when you change it. Such a difference. I'm here for putting help. Do you have a form review in here? I will do putting form reviews. Although those are some of the most fun lessons. Also, kind of the most frustrating. Because they're fun because for some reason, and maybe they're not so diametrically opposed here, but my putting is by far the thing I struggle with the most, and I feel like it's also the thing I'm the best at teaching. So, what kind of cruel joke is that? So, last time I had an in-person lesson here, we worked on some form stuff, boom, and then like worked on some putting stuff, and the guy was like, yeah, from like 20 feet, I'm like not even confident hitting basket. Then we played around after, and he was just draining everything. Circle one, circle two, he'd be like 40, 45 feet out, and he'd drain it again. Bro, if I could coach myself putting, then it'd be pretty sweet. It'd be pretty sweet. Toe kneel is the next one here, Mikey.
Yeah.
Forehand, forehand. Pew! Pew! Okay. You can see it kind of going up there at the end, eh? So let me put it 1/8 speed. This might be too slow, but we'll watch it here. Tim and Mike, the boys in black. Whoop. Interesting. Little spin out at the end there. Okay, let me look at the arm movement first. Yeah. So the arm movement's got a little bit. Shoulder separation minimum. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So the arm movement has a little bit to be desired. Has left a little bit to be desired, I guess you would say. Not that I desire his arm movement a little bit. It feels good for forehand, actually. It's kind of flat. So the move with the arm is here, right? It's not, we're not going to change angles like this throughout the throw. We're not going to, I don't know what we want to call this. That like game where you slap the hands. Because you see your throw, you're here, and you go, boom, and you lay the palm up, and then you have to pronate really quick to get the palm down. So you've got not just this forward slap motion going, which is what we want. We just want to be able to go and slap forward as the arm motion. But you've got this here, and then whoo, kind of like you whip. I didn't. I was afraid it would sell. I know it will sell. That's it. And I wasn't sure I wanted to see it leave. Because if it stays on the shelf for long enough, then I'll be tempted to grab it. Yep. Okay. Yeah, slam and change on the table. So we've got this motion, right, where the fingers are popping across. Now, if we have a little bit more of a bend here, now it's this way, right? If we stand a little more upright, now it's downward a little bit, but it's always the same. At the wrist, it's this fishtail thing. It's not, you know, flipping tortillas or something, right? Because, you know, if you go to like Latin American countries, they're not using a spatula like we do, right? They just flip those suckers barehanded, and they're the best tortillas you've ever had in your life. You're like, oh, tortilla, how good could it be, right? And it's amazing. But yeah, here, right? Not here. Your nose angle shouldn't go back like, oh, nose up, nose down, nose up, nose down. It just stays, and then you press forward. Now, the lower body is what I'm a little bit more concerned with. So right now what's happening is your left hip is staying in place, and you're sliding your right hip forward. So you've got this, I step, and my left hip stays in place, and then the right just catches up with it, almost like you're running through. So you end up collapsing into this leg. Instead, what you should do is attach your elbow to your hip here. This is just a activity for you to try. Attach your elbow to your hip here. Your arm cannot move. So this thing is like fused. None of this right now. This is just to get the hip movement. And I want you to slap someone in front of you as quickly as you can from a standstill, right? So our right foot's going to be over here. Our front's going to be a little bit open, right? And then boom, here. And just slap without moving, changing the spacing of your arm. This is the hip movement. This right hip goes forward, but this left hip also pushes backwards, right? So that our hips rotate in place, not so that our left hip is in place and our right catches up and passes it like this in a forward motion. It's this left butt cheek goes back and this right butt cheek goes forward. They both have to move. Huh?
You forgot to take out one of your posts. It's old.
Ah.
No worries. Ignore me. Sorry.
Okay. You want my phone?
I had a couple of posts taken on them. You might want to
Okay. All right, next is Jaunty Burns. Yeah. Mm-hmm. John D. Burns. Oh, I forgot to take it off a 1/8 speed. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Back to the backhand side. Don't you do it. He's very upright. Interesting. So when people are like super upright through this X step, like here, like if your butt sits too far underneath your body, it gets you into that walk backwards land here. Right, but he's here, and then watch his foot here. His left foot, his back foot. Watch this, a little skirt goes even further backwards. Right, that's interesting. Can I even say that it's wrong, or is it just different? It's weird seeing it in that order, though. Usually people get it backwards, too far backwards early. Here, since it's happening the same time as like the coil that happens in the hip, it makes it harder for me to like judge. That is interesting. He's staying on the left toe, though. Interesting. It's unorthodox. It's weird. Like there are things about your form that are just like, it's like okay, but like positionally you kind of get there in a couple places in the end. So it's like, what do you do with that? You know? I don't have enough info to say like, okay. Again. I'm not a fan of the way the disc is moving through the pocket and how early it's moving in reference to his plant leg. See how his arm starts coming in now? Boop, 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 boop. And here's the weight driving into the heel. Boom. Right? And so he's twisting the upper body forward here. And then he has to round it. See how it's behind the left pec? And now he's got to pull it around the body here to get it through clean to the pocket. Not crazy about that, right? I'd rather his elbow be a bit more forward. And there's this move where the hand's moving kind of down out of the pocket towards that nose up. Position. Yeah, where it's like pronating into that nose up position. Let's just start there. Okay. So in terms of timing, plant first and then throw. So I would practice here. Use this. So I'm gonna throw here. I would practice like this. I would go here, get the posture, turn. Right. Turn. And now we're on this right foot. You saw my left foot go weightless. Here. And now leave the shoulders back. Don't move them forward. And drive the hand through. Right? Drive the elbow through and let the hand continue to pass through here. You're here right now, and then you're going, and as you're planting this foot, you're pulling the disc forward. Right? And then you're going a little bit around here. It's causing some interesting disc pathing. So instead, here and plant, hand through, directly through, and we want to make sure that out of the pocket, we're not flipping our thumb down at all, like this. It's going to turn it into nose up. So we're here, through, and then we're going to flip the thumb upward, actually. So the thumb is going to go upward like this. So if I was holding a disc like this, no good, good, no good, good, nose angle, right? So here, I'm going to change that to good. Here's my thumb, boop, up above the disc instead of going this way. And then learn to speed it up. So we're going to go here. Good. Keep the shoulders back. Throw. Cool. All right. Here. Keep the shoulders back. Throw. Cool. Next. Nose angle. Oh, sorry. Here. Boom. And now I'm going to focus on my hand finishing up. Right. As we get faster, the hand's not actually going to finish palm up like this, like into the follow through. It'll go there for the hit, and then we'll get the nose down, and then eventually when we throw further, it'll pronate back out, so it'll go good, and then it'll flip to bad later. Right? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah. How you got the video in chat on the net? What does that mean? Is he asking how we have graphics on the live stream, or are you asking about the position of the graphics? Is that a question or is that a dig? Is that a, whoa, how did you get the graphics in the video chat on the net? Or is that a, man, how you got the video and chat on the net? I see, it's a layer. Okay, next we're gonna do Japers. Is this still the 10 o'clock release position? It looks much later than on the old out and out videos. So yeah, when you go slower, you can actually like pull the thing way straighter, right? But what actually happens is as you kind of try to get there, it's going to come out earlier and earlier. So, for example, if we look at Simon here, right, where would you say that this release is? It's not 12 o'clock, that's for sure. So he's walking. Doop, 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 doop. Oh, actually, let me show it from this view because we can see where his disc goes. You see his disc is going opposite way of that. Okay, it started out a little more right of what I was showing. Bloop. Oh no, I'm just drawing lines everywhere. Oh my gosh, it's a massacre. What's happening? Man, that behind view's not so behind. Let's see here. Here we go. So, ka-chow, boop, right? And then disc goes over there. Right, so if this is kind of where his arm is going out, here, bloop, disc going this, oh, that's still a circle, undo. Disc going this way, arm moving out of the pocket, kind of this way. It's like obviously left of where it's going when he's moving out of the pocket, right? He's kind of come into the pocket this way and he's going out. Right, for that little bit, and then it's coming back around. Right, as he's got this little, right? Yeah, you can't hold on that late, moving faster and faster. So yeah. Okay. This looks like if another one of my students grew out his hair. Oh, I've got it on 2 times speed. I was like, whoa. Oh no, I got it on 1 time speed. Let me see. From Australia. Yeah, time to look at footwork here. The upper body's not that bad. I wonder if this out is a little exaggerated. Like if you're intentionally trying to keep it out here. if you are like trying to keep it more towards us, then it's more of an effect of the footwork. Or it's like an overcorrection based on the footwork. So you can see when you take this cross step here, well, first off, you're already turning back, right, with your right foot here. Probably don't need to be turning back there. And then here's that backward step. And when you pump, that hip's turning back right there, right? So some people try to use a pump to kind of solve this problem, and it doesn't always work. Some people it does work. But you've got to come in on this left toe, and you've got to stay on the left toe. You see how the weight here is totally towards his heel? You'll see it here. Whoop. Toes picking up. So we need to get our posture a little bit better. Oh, I could have kept that up, I guess. Boom. Okay. So first off, let me get you through these initial steps. So first step is a forward left step with a flare about 45 degrees. Next, you're going to do a right step that's another 45-degree turn, roughly. Right, and this is where you're kind of already starting, right? If you try this, like if you're gonna start with just a right step, which is totally fine, it would just be kind of a straightforward step where your foot's 9 degrees off. You don't want to start turning at all here. So it would be here, and there would be a little stagger. So we go boom, with a little stagger, and then it's about posture. So I'll do it with your 3-step here. So I will get shoulder width apart here. I will stick my butt out and get my chest over my knees, and I can actually lift up my heels here if I wanted to, right? But that's just to show you that my weight's towards my toes and forward, right? And then when we step, we're going to step a little bit diagonal so that we've got a little bit of a stagger here that we need so that this left can cross behind here. But you got to stay with your butt out and sitting down like this so you can get through cleanly. Right, so you should be able to do this forever. If you cannot do this without turning the whole time, if you try to do this and you go like this, that is not it. You got to get somewhere where you got to watch it so you can see that I'm actually not turning through all of those. Not to say that people don't turn like a little bit through this. There's a lot of like flexibility stuff to take into consideration here, but certainly pros aren't going here, here, and then final step like that, right? So stick the butt out, get over it, sorority squat, this thing here, and get through like that, right? And then you should be able to maintain balance on the toe here. The more you sink down in this leg, it's a little bit easier, right? And then you can turn during the final step, but you got to get through this X cleanly. So again, here in that squatted position, step with a little stagger here so that my left knee can come behind cleanly. And then we turn the butt towards the target. Zach Pagic. The Zach. All right, last guy, the BG5. How many BGs were there? 4? Is that what you said, Dakota? Kapew! It looks like a nightmare when it's wet. Boop. Ooh. We kind of like it up till the end there. In the end, it doesn't even matter. Had to fall to lose it all. Get those hands moving forward. Left hand moving forward, getting tight. Right arm, get that right arm moving forward and tight. You got to get the... You can't let the elbow start dragging around here. Hola, Tom. Okay, so we're here. Boop. We're shifted. Both hands forward, 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 forward. Don't be afraid of letting this elbow go past the body. Right now what's happening is you're getting here and your elbow's hanging back and you're not letting it break the plane of your body here, so you're letting it start going around. We need this sucker to go through with both hands. The only thing stopping your left hand is your body gets in the way, and that's fine. So both hands go forward and through, forward and through, forward and through, forward and through, and then once your elbow kind of gets to this extent, then it starts going a little bit behind you as your hand takes over the line, right? So here, there's this extension. Here, and then the arm starts popping out. Right, so forward. Don't worry about the shoulders. Don't worry about the shoulders rotating. Forget about them. Be here. Forward. 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 Got it? Cool. Now we get to the point where we throw. Good. Forward. Bend left arm. That's what you want. Forward. Doop. What is the distance difference in that change? Depends on who you are. I mean, it's not insignificant. Most people, when they get stuck on the left side, like if they're here and they start going around and they don't let their hand come forward, like their elbow go through at all, like usually they're throwing around 300 feet, right? And that's all they'll throw. 300 if they're athletic and doing it, 350. And that's basically as far as that sucker goes, right? So most people, not guaranteed, most people, if I had to put money down, if they're saying, I can't throw, past 300 feet, and I just had to go to a casino and put a bet down and win against the house every time, or the majority of the time, I'd come out winning money if I bet that they just stayed on their trail side with their hand. Right? I can't throw past 300 feet. That's all I got. I'd come out winning huge. I'd take those odds in a casino all day. Just saying, like, they're probably here. Right? They're probably not getting past there, and they're opening up super early. Any form change can throw off your game management. If you're like, should I change that right now? I've got a tournament tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to tell you to change it right now. Yeah, any change is going to throw stuff off. Right? Look at, and it might not even throw it off as like in the ways that you think it throws it off. Right? Like Katrina Allen is having a rough time of it right now. And it's, everybody's saying release point, blah, 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 right? But she's got in her mind that her release point is a bigger problem than it probably actually is, right? But since she's worked on that, since she's worked on her form, it's changed. Like she's forgotten about how to walk up to hit the line, right? She's just walking up in weird directions right now. Right, it's probably not something that you think about if you start changing upper body mechanics. Is like it just slips. So every time you work on one form piece, something else is kind of attached to it, or is easy to forget about. So, yeah. Well, that's it for form review, guys. We're done. We're done. So ask. If you got a question, you got about 10 seconds to ask it. Yeah, here's the thing is like, when you start changing, when you start freaking out about form problems, you just forget fundamentals, right? Like when I start freaking out about my putt, it's like this thing's just grip locking right, or like it just keeps coming off super right, and then Mikey will say something like, "That's just got to be a grip thing, right?" It's like, well, of course, but while you're working on your line and stuff like that, you don't peg down just like, oh yeah, you have to like release a putt. Like your hand has to open at the right time or crazy stuff happens, right? So just having a clean release, but you get into like, okay, is it my line? Is it like my wrist? Is it my, feet? It's like, dude, just open your hand anywhere near on time and, you're okay. So question with the back foot on the release. So before I say this, I grew up in a military family. So when stuff like that gets written, my initial response is question with the back foot on the release. It's like, well, you don't have to tell me that you've got a question. Just ask me the question. But also, that's kind of rude, right? But that's like how I grew up. So I'm not saying I should be that way. I'm just saying that's my first thought. Is like, why are you telling me that you have a question? Why don't you just ask me the question? Because when you ask me the question, I'll know that you had a question. Maybe it's a longer paragraph. See, that's why that's a very good point. Why I've learned to shut my mouth a little bit more. But I just thought I'd let you in. For whatever reason, I decided to let you guys in my thought process there. What's the next form video coming down the pipeline? We have finally, well, it wasn't a paragraph. It was shorter than a sentence on question with the back foot on the release. Question with the back foot on the release. 8 words. Is it passive or active movement? The back foot is passive with the run up. The next form video coming down the pipeline is a brace video finally, right? 2 years later. I mean, we had the hula hula drill, but it was kind of a drill, not a conceptual video. So, and that thing is a chunker. I planned to do one brace video, but as it changed 15 million times before we actually filmed it, and after, and while we were filming it, I decided that we would do a conceptual brace video, and then more of a like drills practicing the brace video. So with that being said, we've got to look at our schedule and see when we're going to do the follow-up to that sucker. It's kind of like a running joke that we would like just keep pushing back the brace video. But I've been teaching it, and I'm confident about how I'm teaching it and helping people improve on it. So it's just every time I'd feel like I'd be ready, then I'd hear, it'd be like, okay, cool. Oh, I understand, how Seabass and Loop Ghost and those guys are teaching it. And then they were like, oh, here's how Chris Taylor's teaching. It's like, wait a second. It's like they're teaching it different. And so then I'd be like, okay, we got to push this thing back because now I'm learning again. Now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, I understand how people are teaching it. I understand how to get people to do it. And it's time. But man, I'm glad that that thing's over. Okay. Can you review my form? I got a video. Dude, if you can get through our Patreon and video submitted properly in the next, 2 or 3 minutes, I'll review your form while people ask questions. If not, you'll just be in the next batch, right? Which is, I forget the date, but it's later this month. By the way, we've turned on subscription billing for our Patreon, so now you get billed every month on the day that you signed up instead of at the first of every month. So it doesn't matter when you sign up anymore. You'll just be in the next batch. Okay, nose up or air bounce also. Wait, what? That's not a question. Oh, I found I tend to have issues with bouncing on the X step, like pushing up on that step, then dropping down into the brace. Should I instead be just sort of sinking into that left foot? So, if you're looking at like Seabass and Disc Golf Spin Doctor and those guys, they would say that's a good thing. Like and this is what I kind of get to in the video, is there's kind of like this verticality concept that you see some people use for the brace, where it's like they get tall on that left foot and then they drop down and they use their weight to put a bunch of pressure on that lead foot. So not an issue, right? You see people get nice and tall. It's an issue if you start looking at people like Simon in his current form, where he doesn't rise that much, right? Where he's kind of resisting, he's kind of pushing forward. And so that he kind of does that cutback type move. So not a bad thing. Yeah, as a matter of fact, sometimes I teach people to, like, if there's a rhythm thing there, sometimes I'll teach people to go, like, up onto this left. So this is kind of like you almost bypass this right foot and you go right, boop, and now you're falling, right? So you've got this little right, left, and then that's basically it. You just got to get to the left foot and then fall into this brace and resist that. Make sure that you're not just totally collapsing that leg, right? You go boom, boom, and now you're resisting, and that leg's super springy as you hit down. So once that toe touches, it's like boom, resisting that downward pressure, and then you go. All right. Personally, I find more success with that style swing. But yeah. So not a bad thing. Stylistic, so it appears. It's a hornet's nest of topics, LOL, but the lead arm video was a revelation for me, and I can't understate how helpful it is. So thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Kind of reminds me of Philo. Yeah, Philo's very up, right? Yeah, so this is, I'll give you a sneak peek into the two kind of dealio. Oh, that's not it. Okay, so Simon doesn't have like a lot of. So let's get Simon here as like as tall as he is, which is right here. Okay, forgive my straightest line. It's pointing a little down, right? Certainly, there's a drop. Okay, I'm just awful at this. Hiya. Oh, well, you can imagine. Why is it so hard? Right? But he's not dropping that much. He's here. Boom. Here. He used to drop a whole bunch. And if you want to see that, you can see on Ace at Disc Golf's channel, he's got the early versus late form Simon, right? And I measured the top of his cap here, right? So he's not even dropping that much, right? This is his brace, his resisting the front foot is going to be more like the direction that he's going to push is going to be more like this, right? He kind of slides into the front foot, and this foot's really pushing backwards more than he's resisting like up, right? Because he's not got a huge hop. So this is kind of like the style that Chris Taylor coaches. In my mind, I'm certainly not these other coaches, right? Compare that to a Drew. Come on, man. Yeah. Compare that to a Drew who hears his left. Right? Much larger drop into the plant, right? So when he resists, he's really going to push off the ground upward, right? You can see it. Boing! He strains that leg out big time. Boing! Upward pressure, right? So for this, so Drew is getting very tall, and he's kind of lifting up into this left. You see a little bit of a upward move here into the left, and then drop. So stylistic, in my opinion. But the goal is the same. Resist, like stop your movement. If you're going more down into the move, you need to stop that downward move by pushing up off your leg. If you're going more forward, you need to stop moving forward by pushing backwards off of that leg. He got it in. All right, load it up. He was cranking. He was cranking.
Even got the code word.
Perfect. Fast reader too. Fast and accurate reader.
All right, let's see if the file format is good.
Yeah, dude, I ain't rich like that. I'm willing to take the extra $15 and do a little more work right now if you're willing to get it in that quick. And you were. I'm happy to review it. Happy to get paid a little more. Happy to review your form. I said that twice.
It's taking a while to export the big file size.
Oh man, missed the submission window this time. Just sent. Somebody else apparently just sent theirs in. You're already a patron, I presume.
Oh, that must have been an already patron that sent it. Because I didn't see a new patron.
Oh, okay. Well, no. Well, I guess I'm not getting extra money. But we'll review your form right now, and then I'll get one less to review at the end of the month.
Really not wanting to download.
XC Fallow. Is that who you're looking at? Which, okay. Yeah, that's an existing patron, looks like. Mikey's going to try to get your thing going, but the format, he doesn't look like it likes it. Or is struggling. Struggle busting.
Alright, looks like it's going through. We'll see if it ends up uploading.
Big W. Yeah, in the meantime, we can just watch this, right? In 1/8 speed. Slow-mo the slow-mo, because he's moving 15 miles an hour. This guy right here, you know he's got a lot of forward force. That's what he does. Dang. We've got it. And you know, the thumbnail, it's always nice when the thumbnail just shows you the problem right off. What in the world? Whoa, it doesn't like the beginning part of that. Okay. This is the issue right here. Turn back too early. If you're going to walk up, your turn back, your foot's, your heel's like already forward. We're going to work on the walk up. That's what we're going to do. You and I, we're going to work through it right now. Right? So the issue with this is you don't get to turn during this final step. You actually have to uncoil during the final step. So usually we want this shoulder and this hip turning back. Or another way of saying it is we want your back and your butt to start turning towards the target during this final step. They are turning away from it. Here, right? That's happening because of your earlier being turned back here, right? So hopefully you got room to move around. We're going to just go through the whole walk-up. So do exactly as I do. Which cannot be said for me in real time, but I can shadow swing with the best of them. There we go. So we're just going to start sideways because that's where you're starting. So you're starting with your right foot. We're going to bend down. We're going to get in this body posture where we stick our butt out, kind of squatting down. Our chest goes over our knees and our weight's towards our toes. I can pull my heels up if I want to, right? So be there, like that, okay? And we're just going to start in that position here, like that. Now you're going to take a forward right step without turning at all, right? So the target's that way. It's going to be a forward right step, and I want a little bit of a stagger. And when I say stagger, what I'm saying is I don't want your feet like perfectly in line with one another. I want this right foot a little bit ahead of this left foot. Right? So keep your butt out. Make sure your butt's not under your hips here. Boom. Here, we're going to take our first right step, still bent. Check your posture. We're going to do this cross behind step. Do not stand up during this. Stay in that squatted position and glide through this. Boom. Still not turned, right? You should be able to balance on your left foot here. This is the kind of check. Balancing on the left foot, we're on the left toe, right? We're not standing up straight. If I asked you to stay balanced on your left foot for as long as possible, you wouldn't have a straight left leg. You'd sit down into it. Or you might start there, but then you would quickly change, right? So Now we've got this left foot down. We have not turned. Now, butt and back turning towards what's my net or the target. The whole last step, right? So we go through, bent, knees out, butt out, chest over. We're on the toes. Check. Step directly sideways with a little bit of a stagger. Put the right foot a little bit in front. Glide through this next step, not turning, right? Your foot doesn't have to be perfectly 90. It can be a little bit back, but we're not turning the hips back here, right? Boom. Here. We can balance. Now we're going to think about the last thing we're going to do. We're going to step forward, right? But we're also going to turn our butt to the target. There we go. And now we can weight shift and then throw. Do that. Work on that. Drill that out until you cannot get it wrong. And it will help you be able to throw properly. Whoa. Yeah. That's usually the reaction when you haven't gone through an X step like that before. You start feeling stuff. Unless you're talking about the 400-foot forehand comment. But yes. Is it better to think butt to target or back, shoulder to target? I've heard both. Both. Both are fine. Whichever one gets you doing it correctly. I think if I had to put my money on one doing, well, yeah, it's different person to person. But if I had to pick one, gun to my head, all that stuff, I'd go butt towards the target. Your left butt cheek twisting towards the target. Because in order to do that, you're going to probably turn your shoulders, right? You can turn your shoulders and not not load your left hip. But yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys. That's it. Got to check my emails. Oh, whoops. Oh, yeah. All right, onward. Got meetings, and then I got to take care of kids and stuffs. Peace. Thanks for showing up, guys.